Wow. Nice. Okay, perfect. Wow. Well, I'm so excited. We're also streaming this as well on our Instagram. So if anyone wanted to rewatch it, we have some live viewers right now too. Hi everyone. So anyway, we're also streaming this. Okay, I'm very excited right now, guys. I grew up with Haley, and she knows I have a very excitable personality. So
No.
oh no no no, it's just us. We're the only ones that you can see. Oh no no, you're fine. It's just our faces on the live stream. Is that okay? Cool. No, we wanted to keep everyone safe. We were like, even Brooke said that. He's like, you guys save the children, and I was like, we'll save the children. Okay, perfect. Hi, my name is Lauren. This is Brooke. Brooke is our like head grower. He knows more about this plant and his pinky nail than I know, and like my entire body. He's kind of in charge of all of the pest stuff and the growing. Talk a little bit about your role.
I am basically here to grow cannabis. I've been growing for about 15 years, and I came on board with the company because they wanted to add an expert to the team, and so I brought my cannabis expertise here. And simply, I grow cannabis full time in our greenhouses in one of our fields, and my job is to make the best top flower we can, and also grow the best stuff we can for our oils and other products. So simply put, I am an organic cannabis farmer, and that's what I do every day.
And he's very, very good at it. And then I'm on like the marketing side of things. Well, okay, so he's on the Appalachian Standard side of things. There's actually kind of two businesses. So we have Appalachian Standard, but then we also have Ross Farm, and that has been here. So the greenhouses, just a little backstory about everything that's out here. So we have about 22 greenhouses out here, and we recently got how many more?
We added about 10,000 square feet of light deprivation greenhouse and another 4 acres at another location. And that's the location that I manage, while the nursery and some of the other farming is over here.
Yeah, so out here at Ross Farm, we also have hanging baskets, annuals, perennials, trees, shrubs, succulents, house plants, just all sorts of, veggie herbs, fruits, all sorts of stuff out here as well. So not only do we have hemp and cannabis, but we also have all of that goodness as well. And this farm was established in 1975, and it was originally run by an older gentleman. And I mean, they just grew all sorts of stuff. Obviously, at that point, they weren't growing cannabis, but they grew all sorts of stuff. And then my stepfather, he retired from the Marine Corps after 20 years of service and started a landscaping team, and he would come out here and landscape these greenhouses. So, and it used to be called Jack Young greenhouses. I don't know if anyone's familiar, but it was really popular, really cool. They were kind of messy, but like super, super cool. And then Jack was interested in retiring, and he talked to Jesse about it. And so my mom and Jesse, like, Jesse's my stepdad, and it's him and my mom. And they knew like nothing about greenhouses. I mean, they knew a little bit maybe about landscaping anyway, but he was like, well, I just love this place, and I don't want to watch it be developed, into houses and stuff. So they just did it, and they became owners of this greenhouse, and they were like, all right, here we go. And we have a lot of the original staff out here. So we have like Miss Susie, which she's on TikTok. So we have Miss Susie, Kim, Steve, just a bunch of people who were here for like nearly anywhere from 20 to 40 years. So they know a ton about growing like that plant side of things. And so over the past 2 to 3 years, we've learned a bunch about not only growing those plants, but then eventually also growing cannabis. Okay, and so, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. So cannabis came into the story after we got the greenhouses. There's an off season for greenhouses. And so during the off season, the original owner, Jack, used to grow poinsettias, but poinsettias really, there's not much money to be made there, and we wanted to, provide the staff out here with raises, and we really had, big plans for this place. And so we're like, okay, well, maybe not poinsettias. Hashtag agreed. That's so cool. Sorry, I just saw someone pop up. I'm just so new to this. Anyway, so what was I saying? I just got so distracted. Oh, no. Okay, so the poinsettias, they were not the answer. And we're like, okay, well, we're in Asheville. Maybe we could do hops or something like that. And so that kind of wasn't worth it. And we're like, So Jesse, like I said, he's a veteran. And around that time, I had 2 aunts who had cancer and were using cannabis as medicine. And Jesse is super passionate about PTSD. And so it all kind of aligned really well with the... what is it? Oh, the industrial hemp movement, because that was coming through North Carolina almost simultaneously. And so it was just super organic and authentic in the way that it kind of fell into our lap. And so my mom and Jesse were like, all right, here we go. We're just going to bootstrap it. We're just going to wing it. I'm sure Brooke's like, I don't know how y'all made it as far as you did, but like they knew nothing about growing this plant, because it's not as simple as growing like I don't know, a normal herb like oregano, for example, because for the cannabis plant, and Brooke can talk more on this too, but there's a very strategic way you have to grow it, but then also you, as a farmer of this plant, you have to figure out where you're going, like who's going to harvest it, where you're going to dry and cure this plant, and then who your buyer is, because you're growing a bunch of this plant and you obviously need to like get it out on the market. So it was just so crazy. And I just remember so many long nights, and I mean, it has been an absolute whirlwind, honestly, an absolute whirlwind. Oh, okay, so that was the intro into was that good, Haley, for the intro for Appalachian Standard Ross Farm?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah, sure, that wasn't very convincing, Haley.
No, my apologies, but it's just...
What did she say? What did you say,
I
Haley?
can't hear.
Love you, Lauren. Love you.
Okay, all right, love you.
Good. You crack me up every time I see you. So,
Okay.
so Ross Farm and Appalachian Standard. So Ross Farm, just so the kids kind of know separately, Ross Farm is the greenhouse business that people can buy, like perennials, house plants, basic herbs. And then Appalachian Standard, from a legal standpoint, what is Appalachian Standard? So that kids hear cannabis and you know their mind is going one way. So can you explain the CBD and the legal route that Appalachian Standard is?
Absolutely. So Appalachian Standard is the cannabis side of things. And so we, in order to be federally legal, so all of our products, all of our plants, everything, in order to be federally legal, has to have, right now, at this moment, again, it's the Wild West. The laws are ever changing, but at this moment, in order to be federally legal, you have to have less than 0.3% Delta 9 THC. And that happened around 2018, right, with the 2018 Farm Bill?
The 2014 Farm Bill was the
2014.
initiation of it, and then it was kind of reapproved in 2018 when they wrote a bill that basically took effect after the expiration of the 2014 Farm Bill. So currently, 0.30 Delta 9 THC is the legal threshold and definition of legal hemp, and that's what Appalachian Standard grows and cultivates, is all legal hemp.
Yeah, and none of it creates a psychoactive sensation, because I think typically when you hear the word cannabis, you automatically associate it to people being high, but none of our products create that high sensation. And that's another reason why it's so great for veterans and people with PTSD, because a lot of our community, is kind of prone to paranoia, and so they kind of want something that instills more peace without creating that high sensation. So there is, because it has a very low level of THC, it's a negligible amount, and it doesn't create an intense psychoactive sensation. So it's all federally legal, and we have everything from like pre-rolls. Well, this is what the tube our pre-rolls come in. So we have everything from like pre-rolls, which is a smokable product, to tinctures, which are sublingual. So what Brooke was mentioning earlier was he grows plants for flower, but then also for oil. And so the flower that he grows is then turned into a concentrate, which is made into an oil, and that's what is used in our diffusers, and then also in our tinctures, which is dropped under the tongue sublingually. So we have a whole spectrum of products, but none of them create a high sensation, because I think that's typically what people assume with cannabis.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, my sister takes the CBD oil for her seizures, so just wanted to make that sure for the kids to understand.
Yes, I probably should have said that out the gates. I'm sorry.
No, you're totally fine. I just don't want these kids assuming anything. So if you could maybe give us the Cliff's Notes version of kind of what led both of y'all to Ross Farms, Appalachian Standard. I know, Lauren, you have a background that's a lot different than what most people would expect for someone working in the greenhouse. So if you could just give us like the Cliff's Notes version of y'all's journey.
All right, Haley, say less. Haley wants me to keep it short and sweet, boys. Here we go. Okay, yes. So the Cliff Notes version of my journey. So I got 2 degrees in college. I graduated with honors and a 4.0 from Western Carolina University with a degree in accounting and then a degree in finance. Wow. And you didn't know that?
Wow.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Wow. Yeah, so I worked super hard, but I didn't take any ag classes in high school. Haley was my ag plug. I was like, Haley, tell me how to grow plants. And she was like, I'll tell you how to grow plant. Anyway, so I also didn't take any agriculture classes in college as well, but it was my senior year of college that my parents got the greenhouses, and so I started to kind of see the journey there, but I was on track. I had been approved to go, or actually I guess I signed the contract to go work for a Big Four accounting firm in Atlanta once I graduated college, but it was that summer that I graduated that I was out here and seeing all the hard work, blood, sweat, and tears that my family was putting into this farm, and something just didn't sit right with me about kind of being a number. And I think accounting is awesome, and I do love numbers, but it just didn't, people are my passion, and I saw that this plant could really, I saw that it made an impact on my life because I used to have like severe anxiety, and so I started using our products, and it really changed my life, and so I really wanted to provide that for other people. So yeah, that was kind of how I started, and I definitely started on the marketing side using social media and stuff to help market the plants, but then I would also help water because we didn't have the money to be able to afford people on the weekends helping out here at the greenhouses, so it would be like me, my mama, and Jesse just watering all of the greenhouses and just doing all of the work. We were bootstrapping it. But yeah, that was my journey, and now I'm on the social media marketing side of things, pretty much primarily, because we have a whole big family now. What about your journey, Brooke?
Yes, so I own a chain of farm and garden stores. So for the last 10 years, I've been supplying farmers with equipment and consulting for farmers. And then I also opened up my own little hemp company a few years ago and had my own journey in it, which was much like any small business. It was quite a ride. I ended up selling my company to another company and gratefully being bought out by App Standard. They bought out a portion of our assets, and so I was able to come work for this company, which I already was friends with, and so I ended up here just through the nature of business and farming, and if you can't beat them, join them is what they tell you, so I'm happy to be working with a really successful team.
That's awesome. It's Brooke, right?
Yes, just Brooke.
Could you maybe tell us more about the greenhouse production and maintenance? My class just got done with talking about IPM, and so maybe going into that a little bit, and then Ms. Starling may have something she would like to ask about the greenhouse as well.
Okay. Yes, so we have 10,000 square feet of greenhouse at the location that I manage. The greenhouse is split into 2 rooms. The manufacturer is called a Nexus greenhouse. Ours is called a Teton package. If you Google Nexus, you'll see they are some of the foremost designers and producers of cannabis-specific growing greenhouses. So when you come in our greenhouse, you'll notice it's not like a lot of other greenhouses. It's extremely large. It has a very, very tall roof. We have very sophisticated lighting systems. We have usually double the ventilation. We have evaporative cooling walls. We use 1,000-watt double-ended high-pressure sodium lights, one for every 10 by 10 area. We use the newest types of circulation fans, and we use drip irrigation and all the type of modern technology that you would find in these newer cannabis greenhouses. So these greenhouses we have are able to produce year-round. One of the sides of the room is under light deprivation. If you don't know what that is, basically we can close the roof with a black shade cloth and create whatever photo period we want at whatever time. If you're familiar with the cannabis plant, the majority of varieties are photo period specific, so they will only flower under certain lighting conditions, and this light deprivation roof system allows us to change that whenever we want, therefore allowing us to flower a plant in the middle of summer when typically a greenhouse would not be able to do that. So we have a state-of-the-art facility there. You don't necessarily need that state-of-the-art facility to produce high-quality cannabis, but it definitely helps when you're on a commercial schedule and you need to produce, and if you don't produce, you're basically out of business. So we love the Nexus greenhouse. I recommend people looking into the best equipment they can buy, because no matter how good of a grower you are, if your equipment's not proper, you're not going to be successful. So number one, we have a great successful team, and we have a great technology-driven greenhouse from Nexus. In regards to IPM, our pest management strategies kind of fall into two different categories. One of them would be kind of our passive modes, and the other ones would be our active modes. So on our greenhouse, we have insect screening on all the air intakes. So all the air that's coming into the greenhouse is screened down to thrip size. So basically, we are not sucking in a bunch of bugs. So what that does is it creates an environment inside that's typically free of bugs. However, that means if a bug does get in, it can typically become an infestation pretty fast because there's not a natural ecosystem and competition between bugs. So we first seal our greenhouses and screen all of our intakes to make sure there's nothing unwanted coming in. We also have biosecurity in and around the greenhouse. So when you're entering the greenhouse, you'll need to step your feet into soap and different types of treatments on your feet. And we have these different treatments out in different times depending on what's going on in the greenhouses. So basically, we try to stop everything from getting from the outside in first. Ultimately, everybody knows that bugs are going to make it in the greenhouses, especially if you don't have that kind of a biosecurity and you don't have screened intakes. So once you get in the greenhouse, we've got a couple of different things that are going on. We typically do have a spray regimen that's necessary because we want to keep the plant in a defensive mode against any type of predator or disease or pest. So as an organic farm, we have to kind of choose the safest thing we can that our organic auditors will let us, while at the same time being effective. And so for cannabis, there's a number of companies out there that make wonderful products, and they already have schedules for spraying, BioSafe being one of those companies. So to be a successful cannabis farmer, you ultimately need to have an IPM program that is tailored specifically to the plant. So you'll have to have specific sprays for the vegetative phase, specific sprays for the flowering phase, sprays that are targeted towards the potential pests like aphids and thrips and mites. You'll use things like sulfur to protect against fungal disease. So there's a whole list of things, and I would say that IPM is probably the number one thing that will allow you to be successful, because growing the plant is actually quite easy, but defending it against pests and disease is probably the most difficult thing that we have to do. We can also use beneficial insects to combat all of the predators. However, once you're bringing beneficial insects in and you're spraying, you have to watch, because certain sprays you use will kill your beneficials. So it's a delicate balance between understanding the ecosystems and the life cycles of these pests and predators, and understanding the chemicals and products available to you to combat them. But ultimately, that's part of being a farmer, is educating and understanding how to do that successfully.
Woo! I mean, come on, Brooke. Oh my gosh. Let me just, hold on, Haley, hold on. I know. We just got a ham horn. I just got a ham hornet for Brooke, man.
Is that a ham horn?
That's a ham horn. That's what it's called, a ham horn.
It's my first ham horning.
It's my first ham.
Put a question in the comments. So, if you were to give advice to anyone wanting to start boosting a plant, leaving the greenhouse, what advice would be? And if someone was interested in the hemp cannabis specifically, what advice would you give them? It's also in the comments if that was too much at one time.
No, that's fine. Ultimately, I get this question all the time. Let's see. Ultimately, if you want to do this as a business venture, I would say you need to make sure that the money you're investing, you're willing to lose every bit of it. That'd be the first thing I would tell you. Now, if you already have a greenhouse and you want to try growing a plant in it and experiment with it, that's wonderful. But at the same time, a lot of people come to me in this experimental phase. The reality is it grows, it works. You don't have to be a magician to do it. You don't have to experiment to figure out how to grow cannabis. You need to buy the proper equipment, get the right genetics, and learn how to do it from a professional. So if you want to do it as a business, the first thing I would do is I would go work for someone who knows what they're doing. Or I would enroll in like the Caldwell Community College class that I'm teaching earlier or later in the summer. So a lot of people like to try to hobby and try it out on the side. I honestly think they're kind of wasting time. If you want to play with it at your home, that's fine. But ultimately, if you're trying to get into the business of it, you need to use the money you have wisely, be willing to lose some of it, and ultimately understand that you're not going to reinvent the wheel. Growing cannabis is a science that's been perfected in states where it's legal in other modalities. So you're not going to figure something out new right now. Cannabis agriculture has been driving technology more than a lot of the other technologies out there. So you basically need to learn from people who already know what they're doing. Take the technologies that exist in commercial farming and don't try to reinvent them. If you can commercially grow tomatoes, you can commercially grow cannabis. If you can do peppers, you can do cannabis. If you can do any field crop, you can probably do cannabis. It's mostly about being educated to the specifics of the crop and understanding that there are people that are light years ahead of you if you are already starting. So it's a very complicated industry. It's a very cutthroat industry. It's a very new industry. And anytime you have an emerging industry, you have people making a lot of money and you have people losing a lot of money. I've seen that happen to a lot of people in the last few years. Ultimately, don't invest more than you're willing to lose and try to learn from people who are already successful. I think that answered that, I think.
I'm pretty sure it did. Yeah, before I ask the next question, is there any students that have questions? You know, engage. They might be able to.
Maybe yell.
Hi guys.
Hi.
I just have a question. You know, there's a bill introduced recently in North Carolina to legalize cannabis that has more THC. Are you guys prepared to start growing that, or are you going to stick to like your normal products that you usually do?
I personally would not think that any bill, I'm not too hopeful about any of those bills because I don't believe they create any outline for small businesses to grow that product yet. We've yet to see anything that we think is actually going to pass that would actually effectively affect us as a business. I think ultimately, I can't speak for the business 100%, but we want to grow plants, we want to help customers, and we believe plants can be medicine. If there's an avenue to do that, I as a farmer would love to do that. But ultimately, we believe in being legal, and that's what we have to do as a business. So that'd be my perspective on it.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And if anything, too, once way down the road that becomes an opportunity, I think we would probably dabble in both as well because there is a need in our veteran community for something like CBD. But then, you know.
Yeah, ultimately, if you understand the chemistry within the cannabis plant, it's not like somehow THC is like this totally different cannabinoid, and because its legal status, we get to throw it out of the conversation. From a science standpoint, from a medicinal standpoint, from a plant medicine standpoint, the compound is extremely valid. Science has tons of evidence to show that there is medicinal potential. So the other thing to understand is the concept of the synergy between these compounds. So when things work together, they typically have a greater effect, and you'll find that with cannabis. So when you look at products out there described as full spectrum, you'll see people are advertising that they have an array of cannabinoids working together, and the synergy of those cannabinoids working together has different effects as if you took them individually. So THC is a part of the plant. As scientists, we can't turn our eyes away from it. It is intrinsically there and has value, and ultimately, we want to bring that value to people who need it if it medicinally could help. If someone could seriously not die from cancer because of a compound in a plant, I don't think many people here would argue that they should have access to the compound.
Let's ham horn it up. I mean, we have an applause around here somewhere, but all I have is the ham horn, so whatever. Or money sign.
She was the same today as she was in high school. If you were wondering.
Good, good.
Stories, okay, from our high school days.
Oh God, I can only imagine.
Well, that was like 2 years ago, right?
Shut up, that's so sweet. So sweet.
Yeah, it wasn't a question. I just want to say I really like your TikToks and I follow you and watch them a lot. That was funny.
Oh.
I knew you. I was like, oh my gosh, you know her, and I follow her. I thought you were like somewhere, not North Carolina.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I was hoping this did something.
What's your name?
My name is Emmy.
Emmy?
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. It's so nice to meet you. What a small world, too. That's so crazy. Holy cow, you should come out to the farm sometime. Haley, bring Emmy.
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Anybody else have questions? Anybody virtually, you can put them in the comments or unmute.
Yeah, unmute. Let's see what, I know John Schmitzer has a comment. I just love your profile picture, John. I just can't get over it. The little fox smiling. I love it.
That fox looks like he had some CBD.
That's true.
Well, it looks like they don't have any questions so far. So any last maybe words of wisdom as we finish up here, if y'all have any, give them to us.
Words of wisdom. Well, I think if I could go back in time and be in high school again, I would probably, like, regarding my future, my career. Why are you laughing? I would probably say you really can't give a S, if you know what I'm saying, about what anyone thinks. You got to follow your heart, period, no matter what, when it comes to, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
But you, for
Yeah.
real, because I think there was a stigma, I felt like, not only around cannabis, but like around agriculture. Oh, sorry, you guys just popped off my screen. Stand by. Okay, wait, hold on. There you are. Around like agriculture and cannabis, and there was a stigma, and I used to care so much about what other people thought that it would like really didn't allow me to kind of fall into what I was passionate about. And just like opening up your mind to new avenues, I think if I would have done that at a younger age, I would have been a lot happier. Because in the end, everyone's too worried about themselves, y'all. Seriously, just full send life. YOLO. You only live once. All right. What about you?
Good Lord. I'm just going to give you some basic agricultural advice.
Okay, yeah. All right. There we go. Mine was just like woo-woo. All right. There you go.
Is everyone here is in an agricultural program, right? Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So I would say that if you're getting into agricultural because of cannabis, you need to get into all the other plants. If you're into agriculture and you don't care about cannabis, you should probably consider it, because there's a wealth of information about plants and the history of human cultivations of plants there. I would also say that all plants are a joy to grow. And if you spend time with enough plants, whether they be for food or for flowers, you will find that there is a therapy, there is a calmness, there is a joy that can come that you can have by being alone and being with your plants. And ultimately, a greenhouse may be a place to make money or a place to feed yourself, but it can also be a place for your happiness. And so my greenhouse is a place where I go where it makes me happy. And I just think that growing food should not be a chore or something that is a pain to you, and neither should be growing medicine. So enjoy it and grow all things.
Let's grow.
Grow all things.
Oh, God, that's awesome. Grow all things. No, that's Megan. She's our like producer when it comes to technological things because I'm a little bit impaired sometimes. So she makes sure I know how to use microphones and stuff.
Anything else, Bill? Well, Lauren and Brooke, I thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us virtually. It was a pleasure.
Dude, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for having us. Please let us come back. Did we ruin it? Please let us come back.
No, I will let you come back, and next time I'm home, I'll come visit.
Please do. Oh my gosh. Seriously.
You give me another tour. It looks like y'all updated some stuff.
Oh yeah, this is our like live stream set. We have a purple couch and stuff. Like we're sitting on this purple couch right now. Oh yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. I'm barefoot also, so you know whatever.
Verify on TikTok now?
Oh no, I said I'm barefoot. Close.
They're not the same person.
Close. Haley, seriously, thank you so much for having us. This has been so much fun. I hope that we taught you something. Brooke, I'm so glad. Thank you for coming on, Brooke, because seriously,
I learned some good stuff. I really did from both of you. I appreciate it.
well, he's got it. He knows a lot about the plant, so.
Thank you again. Y'all have a phenomenal rest of your day. Enjoy your plants.
See you,
Will
kids.
do. Bye. I've never talked to a bunch of kids about a plant. I guess I probably should have come out of the gate saying it doesn't get you high. If I was going to drop like cannabis, I probably should have said that. I didn't think about that. Well, look, I'm learning.
They knew we were CBD.
Yeah.
The guy asked, he's like, are you gonna, they knew.
He did his research. That's a good question. I feel like that's a good question. Like, are you going to grow the other stuff? You killed it. Like, no wonder. You guys, if you guys like what Brooke was talking about, you should sign up for his class at Caldwell Community College. He teaches cannabis, right? Growing
Introduction
hemp.
to greenhouse hemp production.
Yeah. So if you want more and want hands-on experience, then that would be good. It's Caldwell, right?
Caldwell Community College.
Yeah. Over in Boone, and then do they come
Kinda.
to Weaverville?
The class is in our greenhouse. It's in the Nexus greenhouse where I work.
Nice.
So you'll do part of the class online, 4 hours a day, and then on Saturdays you show up at the greenhouse and we grow, we harvest, we do it all.
Nice. Let's grow. I'm so glad that you guys were also watching this. It like comforted me to know that you guys were watching this. So, all right. I love y'all. We're gonna hop off here. Any last words, Brooke?
Grow all things,
Grow all things.
including yourself.
Oh, ham horn. It's not on right now, but all right. Anyway, bye guys. Thank you all for staying around and watching us talk to kids. That was fun. You think we can keep this live? I said some of their names. I didn't think about that. Okay, wait. I can get off here. All right. Bye guys.
Oh, you said the one kid's full name.